You're welcome back to the marketplace. Now to our very first story. To ensure safety of all public, residential and industrial buildings across the country, government, together with the Ghana Standards Authority, has launched the Ghana Building Code. The code determines standards required for all construction works for both private and public. Now, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says the code will be benchmarked for ensuring value for money for all types of construction works in the country.
The Ghana Building Code, GS 1207 of 2018, is a document that is long overdue, but which has finally been delivered. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, the development of any standard or code involves a lot of effort from different stakeholders, and I would like to thank them all. Particular thanks are due to the following for both providing financial and technical resources to ensure that this building code sees the light of day. To guarantee the quality and durability of materials used in construction, buildings, schools, roads, hospitals, and all types of public construction works must use materials that are in line with the standards specified in the Ghana Building Code. Once specifications for building in accordance with the standards specified in the Ghana Building Code and construction materials utilized as specified in the code, it should be possible to have fairly accurate uniform costs for all types of construction in the country.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Works and Housing, Samuel Atachian, says the Ghana Building Code will reduce the cost of apartments significantly. He spoke with Joy Business in an interview.
That in terms of the built industry, sanity has returned. There's nowhere in the world that standards for building are not codified or reduced into writing for every practitioner to use. So what are we saying now? For once, we'll be able to know even the cost of materials by the standard set and the rest of them, value for money. We will be able to also come to tell what quality is going into the building of a structure. And these are the ones that will help us say that we are very safe in the country and nobody takes us for granted. The dimension to what we just witnessed is that are there local materials that we've abandoned because we have a culture that if it's not hard cement and iron rods, we'll never live in the house. So now they say that there are standards for brick and tile, our clay deposit we can use and build. Pozzolana too is another dimension that they stress. So for me, it's like the whole build industry has been put on the world stage. And are we able to measure up to the standards? We need to get the laws, the legislation properly to back the code. And then we deal with those who do want to disrespect the laws of Ghana.
So when are we expecting this code to be fully enforced?
Well, what it is that we need to make an amendment to the current one and then make a reference to this one. And that is when you go to Parliament to achieve this, and then enforcement can start.
Can we say when enforcement starts, we should be experiencing the reduction in the cost of acquiring a home by at least?
Because 80%. The standards have been set, and they've shown us how to build some of these houses. I think we will have a reduction in the cost of housing construction. Yeah.
And the National Communications Authority is said to have received only 2 applications for the sale of 4G spectrum within the 800 megahertz band. These 2 companies, Joy Business understands, submitted these applications to acquire 2 out of the 3 slots advertised, but quoted bidding prices lower than what the regulator was looking for per slot. So which companies submitted these applications before the deadline of the 8th of October, and how much are they willing to pay for the spectrum? There's more in this report.
Companies who submitted applications are Vodafone Ghana and Quantum Oil. Joy Business understands one of the 2 bid prices was far below the asking price of $33.75 million per slot, for the 4G spectrum. Vodafone, which had shown interest in acquiring the 4G spectrum initially, had issues with the price that was quoted and is said to have this time submitted a bid price of some $24 million, while Quantum Oil submitted a bid price of $2 million, which is far below the asking price. Joy Business checks show the NCA may enter into a financial negotiation with Vodafone after ranking their bid as the best price offer and review to arrive at a minimum price. Meanwhile, in the event that negotiations with all applicants is unsuccessful, the authority will conclude the process and invite the operator with an existing assignment to make an offer for the available slots, after which the authority will negotiate a license fee which shall be greater than or equal to the fee that the initial applicants failed to match during the unsuccessful negotiations. The whole process is expected to finish by December 23, 2018.
Let's turn attention to the insurance sector. Now, Managing Director of State Insurance Company, Stephen K. Odro, at a recent meeting in the Western region, has called on government within the recent happenings in the banking sector and also the lack of trust in banks in the country to help insurance companies run and own their own banks.
Managing Director of State Insurance Company, SIC, Stephen K. Odro, is appealing to the government through the Bank of Ghana to grant insurance companies power to establish banks, which he said will improve their operations. The suggestion, according to him, would serve as another form of assurance to clients of insurance companies about the safety of their policies. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of an award night for the clients of SIC, Mr. Odro was convinced that insurance companies have the financial muscle to operate banks effectively, and granting them permits would also go a long way to create employment opportunities for the teeming graduates who continue to search for jobs.
We don't insure money. Yeah, we don't insure money. Insuring money is the responsibility of the government. You see, and we do work with we do work with a lot of banks. Okay, what we don't do is insure money. You know, because it's the responsibility of Bank of Ghana. I have started advocating that they should even allow insurance companies to open their own banks. You know why? Oh yes, in the Western world they do. Because I take your premiums, I need to invest. Okay. If you take your money to the bank, you are going to make a deposit. You can go there for it any day. If they don't have it, you are in trouble. Premium, if you are not, you know, if you haven't filed for any claim, the money is there.
Retired Senior Manager of SIC, Dorothy Wilson, said customers should ask probing questions when entering into insurance.
The clients, we tell them to fish out for the best, because when you go to the market to buy fish, you go around and then choose the fresh one, the more fresh one, and not ordinary one. You get home and then you see that it has started rotting. You have to fish and then listen and listen well. Ask probing questions about whatever that you are about to insure, and then you also have to take your own decision. Going to throw out money, I think you have to take a final decision after you have combed the market to get the information.
Some Awodis also had this to say.
Insurance company backing me, because I'm in business. When you borrow money, then you need to be able to convince your backers or your financiers that their money is safe.
We had what do you call it, fidelity challenge, and as soon as I called them, they quickly reacted, and within a couple of days they settled all the bills for me, and I'm so much impressed. I have been talking to them, they have been coming to me. I've asked them, they should let me know the various products that they have, and I'm so much surprised that they have a lot for potential customers.
In all, 25 sincere and active customers were awarded.
All right, so we will be returning to the insurance industry for some more developments there. But for now, the third edition of the Cosmos Innovation Center Challenge will finally be brought to an end on Thursday, with the top team walking home with $50,000 seed funding. The 8 teams have come a long way in the journey to win the cash prize. Joy Business's Karen Dodu has been with them throughout the period and has filed this report.
The call was made and 500 applicants were chosen to be a part of the third edition of the Cosmos Innovation Challenge. Narrowed down to 120, then finally divided into 8 teams. Now all these teams are vying for the ultimate prize of $50,000 on Thursday. But we asked, do they have what it takes and are they prepared to win the prize?
We are okay because it's a whole value chain and there are opportunities everywhere along the value chain. This is where we have tapped into, and that is the problem we want to solve. They have also tapped into another opportunity, and that is the problem we are solving. So this is the opportunity, and we are best to go.
We have a unique product. We have 2 customers, and one of the main problem in Ghana, even Africa, is what our product is trying to solve: unemployment. So even if KIC doesn't fund us, we know definitely there will be an investor out there who is ready to solve the unemployment issue in Ghana and Africa. So we are very confident our product is going to get an investor and we will roll to solve the unemployment issue in Ghana and West Africa.
Looking at our business, I don't think anyone is a threat, honestly, because we have everything. We do have a very strict structure at the moment, and our only setback, which I don't even really think is a setback, is the fact that we are not even producing up to the demand.
We are still in business. We are prepared for the future. Even if we don't win, we are still in the game to work hard.
Yes, they all seem ready and prepared for the ultimate prize, but this was made possible by the various stages of training and mentoring that these young agri-techies had to go through. Let's rewind to February, when it all started for these young entrepreneurs. Educative, inspiring, and it's been a long road for participants of the Cosmos Agritech Challenge. With about 500 entrants, each person had to undergo interview sessions where they had to justify why they should be allowed to participate in the competition.
Choose in agriculture with entrepreneurship. When we are done, we'll be going to do the dive into personal details of each one of you. So we'll have a one-on-one with you. Okay, so that's how it's going to happen. Right, good. So sir, let's start with you.
I did accounting in school, so I'm more into accounting stuff, accounting and finance. And yeah, I did my service with Accra Brewery, and now I'm Izwe.
After 2 interview sessions, the 500 were then sieved down to 120 who were now eligible to be a part of the challenge. This then led to a market research where all the participants took a tour to 6 regions of the country. Here, they interacted with stakeholders in agriculture, including managers of large commercial farms and processing factories.
You as young people, when I hear about 84,000 young graduates going to look for 500 jobs at immigration, I think, what are we doing? Because really, when I leave this place, do you see my car there? Would you believe I've been putting plants in soil and here? Would you think that? No. And then I'll go to the university and go and teach. So it's not I like vernacular, but in Ghana we say ajomoda ajemo to mo pa. You know, if somebody insults you, do you think it would? As
the teams were in Kumasi as part of their market research, they were informed that they would make a stop at the 4th Infantry Battalion in Kumasi. But what they didn't know was that this stop was going to take their breath away, literally. This was all part of the process to teach the teams the spirit of teamwork, which they had to learn the difficult way.
It is true. You see, discipline is the backbone for the military, and with all that they do, they incorporate discipline in it. And you can never be a successful agripreneur or entrepreneur without discipline. And so whatever that they did put us through today really has transformed me myself. The truth of the matter is that if I am to even drop out from this competition today, I believe I've been well built to carry on with whatever business I would want to do, because for the necessary leadership qualities that I would have to pick, I believe that a lot has been inculcated in me today.
After the market research and a couple of mentoring sessions, the participants finally chose who they want to work with, forming 25 permanent groups. Then there was the second market research, where it was necessary again for the newly formed teams to go on ground to gather ideas and come up with solutions to problems in the agriculture value chain. The workshops provided many lessons, including those that tested their individual personalities and temperaments.
All right, so the Cosmos Innovation Center was launched in Ghana in March 2016 as Cosmos Energy's flagship social investment program. To date, the KIC has trained over 280 young people, launching 9 new agri-tech startups and driving over $1 million external co-investment. The announcement of the winning team will be done on Thursday at the Marriott Hotel at 10 a.m. You can also catch it live on the Joy News channel. It's still live on the marketplace. Let's turn our attention to the insurance sector, where Gold Coast Securities Limited has issued a statement to inform its cherished customers about changes to its investment products and services, particularly what is known and commonly referred to as structured finance, or SF. Now, this follows a directive by the industry regulator, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, directing that all SF-related products which guaranteed returns on investments should no longer be offered by fund managers across the country, and such positions closed today, 31st is closed today. Now, what exactly does this mean? I've been joined by my colleague, Norvan Akwa-Hayford, who's been following these developments, to give us a clearer picture of exactly what the statement means. Now, what else have you been reading from the statement?
Okay, so Aboje, in this particular statement, first of all, one may ask, what is the structured finance product that we are talking about? This is a special product that created by most of these money institutions and fund managers across the country, and most of them they are long-term, in nature. And it is when a client goes in and negotiates and says, this is what I have, I want to do, go into this, and then they tell you, you negotiate the kind of returns you want on that particular investment in terms of what the interest should be. So when that is calculated, then they move on from there. But this particular statement tells us, Aboji, that to enable them, that is Gold Coast Security, to continue with their investment and giving the gestation period of the kind of investment that has been made, they are going to go into an agreement with these customers or clients, and they're going to establish what they call the discretionary fund management agreement with these people for a period of 3 years. Okay. And within this 3 years, that is when the payment will be made.
So you're referring to people or clients who have already invested in SS?
Exactly, before invested. But as of today, that kind of product does not exist again, because the regulator, and it's not limited only to the Gold Coast security people. It is across all fund managers. That's what they have been told to do. And then the payout phase within the 3-year period will officially begin on the 1st of March 2019, and it will continue on quarterly basis according to their statement. And according to them, due to the premium we place on our customers and their funds invested through us, we have assigned to each customer an investment advisor to assist in managing client portfolio and work with clients during periods of emergencies with the aim of meeting clients' unique needs as it should be. In fact, what they have also said, just before I go, it is worth mentioning that the directive from SEC does not affect our alternative investment products such as the Gold Fund, Unit Trust, and all others that they have.
Right.
And one of the things we must also indicate is that, you know, when you go for your payment, it means that they are going to discount it. There might not be interest, you know, as it should be. So if you want your money immediately, take your time within this 3-year period, because most of these funds were put into government projects and all that. And
so as it were, this directive is not only going for, you know, Gold Coast Securities, even though they have released a statement.
Exactly.
Because
They are
what you said is for a whole lot of fund managers operating within the
capital market space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Many thanks for that update. Norvan Akwahe for bringing us up to speed with the latest release by the Gold Coast Securities Limited, halting SFs as directed by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, public policy think tank CART International is proposing a review of Ghana's Revenue Authority's operation to deal with revenue shortfalls. Now, the think tank or the policy think tank operations is to help deal with revenue mobilization. Now, this was one of several proposals captured in its 2019 budget input to the finance minister. Speaking to Joy Business after a media engagement in Accra today, Center Coordinator Apia Atomako says going this way may help deal with this challenge.
Almost all the reforms that Ghana Revenue Authority has been implementing over the past couple of years has been on the low-hanging fruit in terms of the easiest ways and means of taking taxes. They don't want to go beyond the extra mile in collecting taxes. So they look at PAYE, which is easiest form of revenue for them. Customs, excise levy, those things are easy measures for them. But things that requires a lot of ingenuity and creativity, Ghana Revenue Authority has not explored those areas. For example, if a person works in 4 different places, the first job may be a full-time job. So that full-time job, the person pays a PAYE on his or her income. The other jobs, they may be withholding 7.5 as withholding taxes. But what they are paying him is a salary. Do you get it? So we should be able to find a ways and means to aggregate all earnings that people are receiving so that at the end of the month, you can fall into the right bracket, say that you pay your right tax margin.
You're making some proposals. One would ask that how different are these proposals from what has been done over the years? And you believe that these proposals would get at the results in terms of improving revenue? Because if you look at the size of our economy and the amount of taxes we are collecting, it still doesn't add up.
Just tax to GDP ratio for Ghana is still under 17% compared to 35% OECD average. And in Africa, it is 25% on the average. And Ghana, we are still almost 10 points below. So when we are able to implement most of these reforms, that we are proposing, I think that government would rake in more revenue and spend in the critical sectors of the economy, education, healthcare, and infrastructure.
Right now, growing up in a family he calls a farming family, Hashmin knew he was destined to take a career in agric. But how exactly? He did not know. Trying his hands on several disciplines, including law, Hashmin eventually found his core in the cattle business. Now with his meat business, Nama Meat, Hashmin is living his dream. We'll bring you the story on the Joy Business Van, but here's what to expect.
Growing up in the family he calls a farming family, Hisham Seidu knew he was destined to take a career in agriculture. But how exactly? He did not know. This led to him studying and obtaining a first degree in agroforestry, then to law, then to his national service with mining firm Anglo Gold Ashanti, where his career path became all clear with the help of a group of friends.
So through interactions at my time in Anglo Gold, I got the opportunity to supply their company livestock because they knew of my farming background, and also I had access to livestock. So I started that supply, And I kept going on until it was the end of my service, and I moved back to Accra. So then with my partners, we decided to expand into Accra, and that was the beginning of the journey.
Now a sole proprietorship, Nama Meat has a herd of 230 cattle up in the northern region. In Accra, it has a meat shop which offers a variety of beef and goat meat. After seeing a growth in the demand for already cooked meat, Hisham introduced grilling services for special occasions.
So you can catch the full story on Business Live on the Joy Business Van. But just before we go, Joy Business is organizing the Financial Services Forum tomorrow, Thursday. Join us as we engage the Bank of Ghana, the Ministry of Finance, the Bankers Association, Security and Exchange Commission, SEC, on the theme, the changing tables of Ghana's financial services sector, the cost, and the cleanup, is at the Golden Tulip Hotel tomorrow at 9 a.m. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. That's it for the marketplace. Have a good afternoon.